The Chevy Tahoe and the Chevy Suburban are currently the absolute best-selling full-size truck-based SUVs in the country. And for 2025, Chevrolet is updating it. Fresh styling on the outside, new styling on the inside, new technology, a brand new engine, new wheels. So did they do enough to stay at the top? Because every manufacturer, Ford, Stellantis, Nissan, Toyota, everybody is gunning for them. Everybody's updating their SUVs. So this is a first drive. So what I want to do is to show you the entire lineup of the new Tahoes and Suburbans, take them for a drive, see how the 24-inch wheels handle the highways here in Texas, and also see the performance of the new RST Performance Edition. So let's go. Most of the sheet metal remains the same, but the headlamps and the bumpers and the grills are new. And this is the high country, so this is the top of the line Suburban for 2025. And several different trims, they have 6 of them, have unique looks up front. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think they did enough? Or is this gonna just blend in with all the other Suburbans and Tahoes out there? And let me show you what's going on in the rear. For 2025, Chevrolet is also raising the prices of the Tahoes and Suburbans, sometimes by as much as $5,300. And at the end of the video, of course, I'll tell you some of the prices and you can decide, is it worth it? Here in the back, we have a new tail lamp design, even though the size of it is about the same. And the high country, top of the line, Tahoes and Suburbans get now these squared off quad exhaust tips, and most of the other Tahoes and Suburbans are getting round quad exhaust tips. And how about right now, I'll show you the lineup. We were there in the morning with several Tahoes and Suburbans, so let me show you right now. This is something you don't see every day, but this is a Z71 Suburban, right? Usually you would think if it's an off-road model, it would be a Tahoe, but in this case, it's a Suburban, and I'm hearing a little diesel clatter. I don't know, you probably can't hear it, it's so quiet, but this is quite special because it's a Suburban, it's a Z71, and it's a 3-liter turbo diesel Duramax engine. Here we go, I believe this is a Premier. Let me double check. This Tahoe is a Premier. This is one trim below the high country. So actually, Zach, can you come here for just a second? Let me just show you the interior. So this is the Premier interior. I think it's got like a slightly different kind of taste to it. Very, I would say, city oriented, kind of a big city slicker. And the high country looks a little bit more country. And here's another Z71, this red one right here. If I was gonna get a Z71, I'd probably get a Tahoe because you want slightly shorter wheelbase and a little bit more capability off-road. These are not rock crawlers, but they will do quite a lot. They have fancy rear differentials with a locking feature. And finally, Zach, over here, at the very end, this is a special one. This is the RST Performance Edition. So this is basically one of their sportiest Tahoes you can get. Sometimes it's referred to as the police package. And Zach, the reason for that is it's got, slightly smaller wheel, a little bit more high performance tire, bigger, more capable brakes, and more power because it's got an air intake system and an exhaust system. And the power, it's not 420 horsepower, it's actually 433 horsepower. So it's got a little bit of bump in performance, and this is what Chevrolet says. This is what they say. And you can see this air intake right here underneath, and the giant 6.2 engine. This is sweet. Anyways, I think it's time to go for a drive, and this is the one. So let me fire it up and pull away. All right, well, let's see what this performance SUV is capable of. Oh yeah, I could feel that for sure. Woo-hoo-hoo. I have to follow navigation too. Yeah, so it's a little bit lighter because it's a Tahoe and not a Suburban. And then also, it's got a little bit more oomph. Like I said, performance exhaust and intake system. So, and now it's traffic. Thank you, Dallas.
So we got to experience the performance of the Tahoe RST with the performance package for all of what, 10 seconds?
Yes, but I think that's very typical of how a Tahoe Suburban would be used, because it's probably in a big city somewhere like this. So another 30 miles down on this trip, and of course it's a little first taste of what these vehicles are all about. But I gotta tell you, so if we take a look at our efficiency, it's 23.8 right now after about 30 and a half miles. That's pretty impressive, but of course this is a brand new vehicle. It only has about 800 miles on the odometer. The trip computer may be, not fully calibrated to the life of this vehicle yet, but still, that's pretty impressive. But Zach and I noticed a couple things. In this Tahoe RST Performance Edition, you could hear a little bit of tire noise and a tiny bit of drone. Maybe not super annoying, but the exhaust system is different. And it's a tiny bit droney when you're kind of just cruising down the highway. But efficiency, at least according to the trip meter, is very impressive. Yes, new dash, new technology, but the feeling of the high country remains kind of the same, with really nice seats. They're pretty comfy. I think they're a little bit more comfy than a Silverado would be, 1500. All right, let's power up this new 3-liter turbo diesel. Yes. Okay, before we get on the road and the highway, I wanted to show you something. First of all, this is a 17.7-inch center display. I have an 11-inch display here, but I do have a lot of knobs and buttons. So even though some of the displays are new, I have a lot of controls that are traditional. And so if you're used to other Tahoes and Suburbans, you'll be right at home here, including the trailer brake controller is included here on the left. It's often an optional feature, but here on the high country, I believe it's already included. Now, I want to show you a really cool feature for 2025 on the trailering. So if you go home and you have several different, of course, Google built-in system, several different apps you can add to this. There's also wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you know me, I'm a truck dude. So I selected a trailer. I entered a new trailer called TFL Truck, and I said it was a boat. And look, it even has a boat ramp assist system. It's reminding me to do several things. It has a checklist for me. So if you've never done it before, there's a little bit of a tutorial to make you just a little bit more comfortable. This is some of the newer features that they've added. There is a gross combined weight alert. Basically, as you're driving with a trailer, the truck tries to estimate the weight of the trailer. This is not really precise in my experience before, but it's still there. So if I want to switch profiles, I can click this designation, switch profiles, and add a new trailer. How about TFL off-road? Let's say I'm carrying a side-by-side or something to the trailhead. Maybe it's a flat trailer, continue setup. Now, trailer side blind zone alert. That's a really cool feature. Trailer navigation. This works for bigger trailers, for example, for weight or height. Trailer maintenance. This is a big item for people with lots of trailers, or even a trailer that you need to remember when you changed your trailer tires or lubed your bearings. You could have gross combined weight alert, tow haul mode reminder, theft alert for your trailer, and you can set it as default. This is really cool. I think this is the best in the business as far as being able to manage and control and remember about your trailers. This is bar none the best. I know many of you have been waiting for this combination, the latest diesel engine and the Suburban, and of course the towing package, because you can bring, well, in this case, 7 people, but you can configure a Suburban for 8 people. And if it was a base Suburban, you can configure it for 9 people. And you have traditional powertrains, so no hybrids, no, crazy turbocharged gasoline engines. So this is kind of unique. GM is really maintaining their powertrain selection and of course offering choice still. I think that's really important, and I think that's how they maintain some of their sales leadership. So part of it is maintaining, Suburban is celebrating 90 years as the longest running nameplate in the automotive industry, period. The first Suburban came out in 1935. This is not going to be a very scientific first drive test, but I want to get a sense for the fuel efficiency and torque. Oh, there's just a wave of it. I don't have to push the accelerator pedal too far down. There's just kind of this wave of torque carrying me forward. By the way, later on in this video, I'm also going to drive gasoline-powered Suburban on 24s, and I'll talk a little bit more about the wheel and tire package. But at least for now, I want to focus on the engine. As far as powertrains are concerned, GM is staying tried and true. Well, except for this. This is the latest generation of their 3-liter inline-6 Duramax turbo diesel engine. You can see the turbocharger here on the passenger side, and this is the latest engine code LZ0, and basically that means it has many improvements, including some durability improvements, but also horsepower and torque go up, and it's going to be available early in 2025. 305 horsepower, 495 pound-feet of torque, a 10-speed automatic. And yes, this is a big vehicle, but that's a lot of torque. The big deal about a Tahoe or Suburban or its competition, like the Ford Expedition, there is, of course, the Jeep Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, there are Nissan Armada, Toyota Sequoia. The thing about these vehicles is you probably have a big family or maybe lots of friends, and you want to go along on a long road trip. These are road trip vehicles. And the beauty of a road trip, you only want to stop when you want to stop. You don't want to make unnecessary stops. And with the Suburban, the long wheelbase, it has extra space, of course, and that hasn't changed. But you have a 28-gallon fuel tank. The Tahoe still has a 24-gallon fuel tank. So they didn't change much of the chassis. The size of the vehicle remains the same. But having 28 gallons and a diesel engine, they're saying 750 miles of range is possible on a highway in this configuration. Maybe not in a high country, but in a slightly lighter vehicle, because this truck weighs almost 6,500 pounds. It's a big, heavy beast. But yeah, that range is wonderful. All right, jumping on a major highway here. By the way, the engine sound is very muted. They've always done really well with this engine because it first came out several years back in the Silverado and the Sierra half-ton pickup trucks. And unless you're walking by the front of it and paying attention, you may not realize actually this is a diesel. So it's not a heavy-duty truck, with a very loud engine. That's a good thing for comfort. Yeah, let me put a few more miles underneath our belt and see how it does. Let me check my trip meter. So after about 16.4 miles, it's 24.8 MPG on this kind of impromptu and mainly highway trip. Yes, there was some side roads as well. And then I restarted my engine once during this little loop, and the last section was 26.8. So yeah, so should you expect these numbers always? No. This is a brand new truck with 700 miles, so it's not really broken in yet. Also, it's been a pretty hot day here in Texas. So, but we'll do more testing when we get these Tahoes and Suburbans to Colorado, hopefully within the next couple months, and we'll do a little bit more precise Denver 100 loops and gauntlet towing tests, and also some off-roading with some of the Z71 versions of the Tahoe and Suburban. So now let's go to the other truck and see how it drives. This Suburban right here is the new RST on 24s, and I cannot wait to get it on the highway and the roads and see how it drives. Let's go. So I want to do two things. First of all, I want to see the new suspension setup. Also check out how these giant wheels and tires handle everyday driving, and also check out the efficiency of this truck. And of course we have a lot of construction, so I'm going to try to navigate all of that stuff. Tires, that's kind of a big deal. So as soon as a manufacturer changes the tire size, it's a big deal. They have to go through the entire government certification process. It requires a lot of different testing. And for that reason, GM told me that they changed the suspension system, just retuned it, and also the steering system as well. So that's the whole shtick. Underneath the hood of this particular Suburban RST is a good old 6.2 liter V8 with 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque and a 10-speed auto. And this is a highway. Oh, the sound is still glorious. All right, this does not have the ultimate performance exhaust system, but still, I love the sound. We're used to this engine. It's actually good and bad that GM did not change the engine. Everybody's always chasing a little bit more horsepower, so I kind of wish they massaged this engine a little bit more. But also, it's tried and true. So it's been around for a very long time. In a variety of different trucks and SUVs, and the Suburban as well, and the Tahoe. And if it works, why fix it? If it ain't broke, why fix it? So let me just settle in. This particular RST does not have Super Cruise, hands-free driver assist system, but you can get it. It's just an optional system, and you do have to have a current OnStar subscription, so it will cost you a little bit extra. All right, so let me settle in. Let's see, it's 65 miles an hour here. We are on the truck number 7 from the event, and the odometer is reading 777s. Zach, are you a gambling man? Because are there any casinos in Dallas? I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's just go put it all on red, Andre.
Yes. I gotta tell you, I was a little bit worried when I first heard about a year ago that Chevy is gonna put 24-inch wheels on the Tahoe and the Suburban. But after driving it, about 30 minutes, and we've gone about 30 miles, I gotta tell you, they nailed the ride on, at least on this suspension system. This is the Air Ride. This is a Suburban. It's a long wheelbase. And even though the wheels are huge and the tires are not very big, and I was worried that it'll be too harsh, it's not harsh. It's just gliding over these Texas highways the way a big Texas SUV should. And it's a pleasure. And the steering feels really great as well. The steering, I mean, it's not too just light, it's not too heavy, it's just weighted just right. Let me see if I can change my modes and make it, let's see, sporty. I've been in normal mode all this time. There's maybe a tiny change in the steering effort. But you know what? Even with these low profile tires, I think they nailed the ride. It's comfy. Maybe if we're in Colorado or Detroit and really rough potholes, it'll be a whole different story. But it's relatively quiet. It's smooth. What about efficiency? All right, let's take a look. Let me look at my vehicle status over here. 21.2. So the EPA says for the 2024 model, the EPA says 18 on the highway. And I'll take 21 with 24s, rolling on 24s. I'll take 21 mpg on the highway any day of the week in the very big and heavy SUV. So far, the ride is great. We're wrapping up this leg of our trip, at least for this first drive, and let me double check the efficiency. Well, right here, 19.6. Even though we've been driving through the city for the last few minutes and stop and go and stop and go and stop and go, yeah, I think it's still a great result. I mean, if you look at EPA numbers, EPA says 14 city. So, of course, I mean, this is not a scientific test, but I'm pleasantly surprised by the efficiency and the comfort that this Suburban is offering. Right now, I'm in a 2025 Chevy Suburban Premier. It's one trim below the High Country, and you could see this, I think, wonderful white interior. I mean, it's nice, but it's not a work truck. Please don't try to sit in it, in blue jeans all the time, or you might kind of ruin the interior. But if you want something that looks sharp, I think this looks very sharp. But I'm in this because I want to show you a Super Cruise. And Super Cruise, of course, has been around. And it's a hands-free driver assistance technology where on pre-mapped highways, and actually GM, I think pre-mapped already 750,000 miles of divided highways and also some of the two-lane highways as well. Okay, it went green. I've got Zach in the back. Zach, how are you feeling? Are you good?
Oh yeah.
How about your cup holders? Do you have your cup holders in the back there? How about entertainment? What are you watching?
Well, it's funny you ask. I'm watching TFL truck here in the back seat.
Zach is watching TFL truck in the back seat. That's wonderful, Zach. And I'm not touching the pedals, and I'm not touching the steering wheel. And somebody just blew by me at a pretty crazy speed, but still, we're doing really well. By the way, I love Super Cruise maybe more than most other systems. I think it's still a tiny bit better than Ford, although Ford is almost on par. It's better than the system in the Ram truck. I think it's better than at least some of the Mercedes and some of the German systems I've tried. So yeah, it's very, very good. It's not full self-driving, but Tesla's full self-driving with supervision mode, it's kind of a different animal. It's a little bit more Wild West, in my opinion, out there. And this is a little bit more, traditional. They've really taken their time with the system, and you still have to, of course, watch the road, but it will tow like this as well. So it works with towing or without a trailer. It's quite nice. Let me try an automated lane change. Okay. I asked for it. I can cancel it. It changed lanes by itself. It also has automatic lane changes. If it determines there's slower traffic in my lane, it will also do that. But the system is not tied into the navigation system, so it won't actually follow navigation instructions quite yet. Maybe that's coming, but we don't know exactly when that's coming. All All right, so now, since we've done most of the driving, let's talk about price, because that's very important. And it goes up, like I said. So the base Tahoe LS two-wheel drive starts at $63,495 after destination charges, and that's $5,300 more than before. The LT has a $3,000 increase from the previous iteration to 2025. So, okay, that's a little bit better. The RST has a $4,700 increase. Z71 off-road versions have a $5,200 increase. Premier Tahoes and Suburbans have a $5,500 increase. And right here for the high country, $4,300 increase in price. So is it worth it? Yes and no. Yes, because I love the new technology that they've added, especially those towing features that I showed you. But competitors can tow heavier trailers. This only tows, what, 7,800 pounds? Some Tahoes and Suburbans tow about 8,000 or 8,400 pounds. I think they need to bump that number a little bit higher. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you next time at oldtfl.com or tfltruck.com. Thanks.